Hello, everybody. My name's Rick McCutcheon, and today on Partner Talks, I have Heather Williams. Heather, introduce yourself and tell the people what you do.
Hi, everybody. My name is Heather Williams. Thanks. You already gave my name. But today I work at ArganoArbela and I work on the alliances team and how we're connected and working with Microsoft. But my history has really been in the community of Dynamics. So a little bit interesting and I guess unique in that it's not really been on the partner side or the customer side or even with, the publisher, Microsoft. So on that community
But I,
spin.
but I think your community time is great because I remember you back when you were helping me start the Canadian CRM community. So I think you've kind of gone right across the business applications scope and pretty much touched every application.
True statement, but not technically or even
Yes.
in, the functionality. I did enough to do damage. I would always say I learned enough that I could talk and understand where the problems were and where the needs were and help, fill those gaps, make the right people meet and solve those problems, but I by no means implemented it or anything like that. So I don't want anybody to think I'm like a super nerd in that aspect. When people are like, what do you do really well? I read a room pretty well. Like I can tell where people are frustrated and I can tell where there's opportunity for wins. And I don't really even have to talk to do it. So I think the community trained me for that. Sorry.
And I think your background in community led to your current position. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing today and why it's important for partners to have somebody like you.
Sure, sure. I think alliances are maybe like a little bit of like a myth, I guess, with partners, especially if you don't already have that division or roles there, because it's, you wonder who would really serve that role. What will they do? How do you take relationships and put action to them? And that's really the hard part. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm taken the business needs, the strategies that we want, not only today, but that 3 and 5 year vision. And then you take that and you look at the ecosystem, what's going on in the environment with other partners, with other customers, and then you take it to your publisher. Where are they going with technology? Who are the people in charge? What is their vision and where do they want to go with things? Because I don't know about you, but in our world, like, being reactionary to things is super disruptive. But reading those plays ahead of time and yelling out audibles and all of those good things really puts you in a better position, just as an organization, because your people can focus on technology and winning, not saving the day because of a disruption. You know what I mean? So.
And when we see the sort of growth in business applications, I've heard numbers like 40% year over year. It's getting bigger all the time. And I know that the last partner conference, Microsoft really was kind of giving us the message that you're a Microsoft partner. You're not a CRM partner. You're not an F&O partner. You're not an Office modern workplace partner. You're a Microsoft partner, right? Which puts a lot of pressure on systems integrators because I know my line of business now. I've got to know a lot. So I think we're really going to see a different type of partner evolve. I think we're going to see more of this P2P model, right? Partner to partner model, where I do what I do well, but now I've got ISVs sitting over here. I may have contractors sitting over here. I may have managed service partners sitting over here. And I start to bring them all together to kind of form that solution for the customer.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, looking at, we've been around in the space for a while now, and I have seen partners and how they've worked, just evolve to your point where, they used to just implement a product. Customer would come in, I just want to buy an ERP system. I want it to do this, that, the other. I want it to bring this ROI to my company, and that's what I picked. You go do that. It's not what partners are today anymore. It's more like a customer coming in a certain industry and they have a problem, COVID testing today. That's a problem, for a manufacturing company. They have to figure out how they're going to do that and how they're going to maintain it, how the data is going to be right, and what are they going to do when somebody's positive and all of those things, right? So having a partner that can come in and say, oh, I'm just here to implement ERP. No, you need a partner that's going to say, okay, that's the problem. Here's the technology, and this is how we're going to solve it. So, and I'm really proud that I work with a partner that's like that today. They're really focused on innovation for that.
And we're going to see more growth in Appsource too, because I think probably half the traffic on on Appsource today are partners looking for solutions to help their customers. Like it used to be everybody wanted to custom build everything. But now I think we just have so much work to do, and these projects are moving so fast. If somebody else has done something already, I think we have to go out and grab it and partner with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. It's just amazing. I think what I see, partners just aren't partners. I see some really like good altruistic type of things that are happening in our world with our partners and customers around dynamics. It's pretty cool. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
I nerd out on that.
So Heather, what are some of your predictions? Like we're early on in 2022. Where do you kind of see this whole partner channel going and moving towards?
Well, I am noticing a pretty solid shift in Microsoft to focus on industries. I think we saw that several years ago, and then it kind of went, more down that power road. And I think they're really back to industry focus. And I think those of us partners that are in that world are going to also shift our train of thought to that as well. So that would be my early 2022 thoughts with things, and then we can, I guess, see how things evolve, because I have learned in all my years that you predict nothing when it comes to Microsoft because they'll make you a liar. So my thoughts is just keep an eye on that, see where it's going.
Okay, Heather, thanks for your time today. We'll be back at some point to talk to you again about how to build these alliances and how to build partner channels, but thanks for your time.
I look forward to it. Thank you for having me.